Dozens of things swarm the play area. There's barely any shield left, and chances are looking a bit grim. We've all been here. The heart-stopping moments where everything's looking like it's comfortably wedged up the creek without a paddle.
Firestorm!
And the relief,
You asked for it!
where one power-up opens everything up again and allows breathing to recommence. There's plenty of that in this title. Today on YesterYear's Mac Games, we're blasting through Battle Girl, an incredibly intense top-down arcade shooter with vector graphics, furious gameplay, and a superb soundtrack. This title really is testament to how a few simple lines arranged in the right way is sometimes all you need for a great-looking game. Battle Girl was developed by Ultra United and has been compared to the old arcade game Robotron. It's a destroy anything that moves affair, with separate inputs to move and shoot in whatever direction necessary. The premise is relatively straightforward, with enough plot to apply a purpose to what's going on, but not too much that it gets in the way of blowing stuff up. The general gist is that a rogue military program called Terminus, who can see us, has gone doolally and is trying to destroy the great machine, which is what the game takes place within. The player then takes control of Battle Girl and is tasked with stopping Terminus's reprogrammers, with inserting what is essentially malware, not sure if that term existed back in '97, into the function pods, which wiggle about the stages. Terminus spews them out from the centre of each playing field, along with other fighters which try to kill you, all while twiddling around like a carousel and occasionally dropping the odd comment. Battle Girl will run on all but the earliest of Power Macs, and with a bit of effort will also run fine in classic emulation in early OS X. I don't usually try this, but unfortunately, this is one of those games that can't draw sprites on a second mirrored screen in macOS 9, which means I can't play it natively and capture at the same time without input lag ruining everything. For whatever reason, OS X is fine with it, although the mouse cursor is visible. It's not supposed to be, and totally throws you off your game, as well as making a right old mess of glitchy pixels wherever it goes. To get around this, I've plugged in a PlayStation 2 controller with a USB converter to make use of the game's joystick support. The craft that you pilot is controlled with a mouse or joystick, while the 8 directions of firing are generally handled by the keyboard. This enables free movement while charging at or backing away from whatever's buzzing about. The game demands the player stays on the move constantly to avoid hostiles and rescue whatever function pods are currently being desecrated by a reprogrammer. The level ends when all of these horrible little things have been destroyed, and bonuses are dished out based upon how many function pods were saved. Lose 4, and Terminus joins the fray. This could be regarded as a boss battle. Terminus has some pretty powerful attacks, although my favourite is his punch forward. So long as you're out the way, it's pretty cool to watch. The camera pans out to assist the player in figuring out where not to be, and it looks swell. 5 shots to the face, and Terminus is terminated. The secondary weapon gifted to the player when he's on the blink finishes him off. For all of a couple of seconds, until the next round starts and he resumes pirouetting around the centre. Terminus's presence adds an extra chunk of challenge to what I would certainly call an already difficult situation. I mean, he gets up to make a nuisance of himself when the player isn't doing very well. It's as if the game's taunting you. Oh, are you doing badly? Here, let me make it even worse. Weaponry is admittedly pretty straightforward and simple. The primary weapon gradually improves as the levels go by, and a handful of power-ups crop up on occasion too. These range from multi-shots, enhancements to the shield, force fields that enable the ramming of everything, and the rather impressive Firestorm, which lays waste to everything. It's a shame that these didn't crop up a little more often, as I frequently found myself in situations where I was surrounded by enemies pelting towards me on all sides. Some drift around and don't do much beyond getting in the way, but others will fire projectiles, draw damaging lines around the play area, home in on you, and split into more things when shot. These yellow crosses were things that I decided not to shoot unless I absolutely had to. As the result are 4 very speedy, very accurate little enemies that are very tricky to dispatch. Now, there's no hiding the fact that Battle Girl could be considered a hard game. The first 15 levels are simple enough, but after that, quick reactions, forward planning, and general experience are critical to getting anywhere. It took me a few attempts to beat the stock high score, but later on, I nipped onto the archive of Ultra United's website to find a high score list. These were all verified with score codes that the game generates. The scores and level numbers here are seriously impressive. Battlegirl was a pretty popular game for its time, with an active community who all would have no doubt have been vying over the top spot of the high score list. The game did originally come out in 1997, but got a physical release by Feral Interactive 2 years later. There were also plans for a sequel. It's actually hinted if you idle on the main menu long enough, where you'll eventually see a coming soon message for Hypergirl. Hypergirl was never completed, although it actually existed before Battlegirl. The game was to contain 3 sets of levels, where the player piloted the crafts of Broken Girl, Nature Girl, and Devil Girl, who I think you'll agree looks somewhat familiar, in their quest to unite and defeat whatever split them up in the first place. A test build of this game got out somehow, which is what you're seeing here, and from it we can see that some of the mechanics are a little different. This is Broken Girl's level set, which dons a nautical theme and plays a bit like Stick Software's Boogaloopers, in so much that you leave a trail behind and need to draw circles around your targets. Hypergirl was pretty ambitious then, but perhaps would have taken too long to complete. With all of Devil Girl's levels complete, however, they were spun off and became Battlegirl. Overall then, Battlegirl is, despite the trickiness, a must-play for anyone with an old Mac. It's challenging, speedy, and immense fun. It sounds great too. The download available on the Macintosh Garden and Repo have the tracks packaged as MP3s within the download for easy listening, although the game plays them as MAD-H files, which is a type of mod. Battlegirl supposedly runs okay in the Sheepshaver emulator, so it's not off limits to those without original hardware. Download links can be found in the video description, so venture forth and give it a shot. That's it then for this edition of YY's MG. Arcade blast 'em ups weren't by any means an underserved genre on old Macs. For more video content on that, why not take a peek at some of my other videos? Otherwise, do share your thoughts and memories in the comments, and subscribe to keep on top of future reviews for more classic games for Macintosh. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.